Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with the brand new Daniel Defense DD4V7. This brings something to the table that DD has not done in the past, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, the AR-15 is one of my favorite rifles. It's one of the world's favorite rifles. You'll notice most of America's allies are starting to convert to some version of the AR-15 M16. And so this rifle, being over 60 years old, is still gaining in popularity. And there's a reason for that, because this rifle is probably one of the best rifles ever developed. We love Eugene Stoner, but let's take a closer look and do a deep dive into it and talk about some of the cool new features that they've implemented. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. So let's take a look at some of the features of the new V7. Now, some of the features you're going to find on this rifle have existed on previous versions of DD rifles, but we'll point out the stuff that truly makes the V7 unique in their product lineup. So we'll start off on the rear here. We have an adjustable stock, and this is standard DD type furniture. So you're going to have glass impregnated polymers that are very durable. The butt plate itself is replaceable. On DDs, you'll find that they have this rubberized texture on the side that makes it more comfortable. So you have a really hard surface on the stock itself, but then wherever your skin's going to touch, like your cheek, it's going to be rubberized. Same with the pistol grip, the glass-filled polymers here, but then you have the rubberized grip that softens the feel a little bit and actually feels really good. Kind of more a vertical profile here to the pistol grip, which has been common for several years now. Has a standard M4 type buffer tube receiver extension back here, has a heavy buffer inside of it. Here's our standard mil-spec castle nut. You can see it's staked properly in its position there. Back here on these stocks, you do find that it has QD points in the stock itself. I don't typically use these, but the V7 does have a QD point back here on the end plate, and this is the QD point that I use most often. Has the grip and rip ambi charging handle, so you can charge it from either side very easily. A very nice implementation of a ambi charging handle, and that's what the V7 really is all about, folks, is ambi controls, and that's where we're going to get into it here. So we have a standard A2 forward assist, ambi selector lever here, so you can select your fire mode from either side of the rifle. Coming forward, this is where the new ambi controls come in. So we have a bolt stop bolt release over here on the right hand side of the rifle now. This is part of the V7 package. So if you want to lock the bolt open, you push on the bottom half of that, pull the bolt to the rear, and the bolt locks open. When to release it, reach up with your index finger and drop it. Left-handed shooters will then have a release over here, which would be the opposite of what us right-handed users or shooters typically use for bolt stop bolt release. You'll also notice it has an ambi magazine release over here on the left-hand side of the receiver, and then in a standard position right here. A2 port buffer here for left-handed shooters. You'll notice the fencing's a little bit different. There's a gap in it right here, and so you have a flared mag well as well down here. Inside we have an enhanced trigger system, and the trigger is very, very nice. It's a great pull on it, very clean, crisp trigger. On top we have marked 1913 rails across the top. It is segmented, and then the 1913 rails again pick up out here on the handguard, so it's not a monolithic rail. However, you will notice that the DDs have bolts that hold the handguard to the receiver, and this will keep it from clocking. So this should be fairly durable, more so than some other handguards I've seen on the market. So this thing is free floats, but also extremely durable. It's a 15-inch handguard out here, and underneath we have a 16-inch steel barrel. It's cold hammer forged, 1-in-7 twist, chrome lined, government profile, mid-length gas system with a 4140 steel gas block, low profile, that is pinned in place, so that's not going to go anywhere. Out here on the end, we have a 1/2x28 thread, but this is the new DD4V7 muzzle device on here that's supposed to reduce the flash signature of the rifle. I think I covered off on everything on this. Just if you're curious, this is a primary arms. This is the MD21S red dot sight, has a solar panel on top of it to keep that battery charged. It's a great little red dot system. All right, so here's the other side of the rifle. If you hadn't had a good look at that, you'll notice it has QD mounts out here as well. So with the M-LOK, you can put additional mounting points out here if you want to, if you don't want to use this one this close, but I typically use these two QD mounting points. Now, I will say that the Daniel Defense rifles are extremely accurate. I have a number of DD rifles, and they're all extremely accurate guns. If you want to see a dedicated accuracy test of the V7, just say so in the comments down below, and we'll run some different match ammunition through it and give you guys an idea of what the accuracy capabilities are of this particular rifle. But I will tell you, it's going to, at least meet and definitely exceed most other rifles out there in barrels. DD manufactures most of their components in-house, which kind of brings the cost of the rifle up a little bit when compared to other products I like. I like BCM AR-15s, for example. A little bit lower cost, but they outsource a number of their components. That will keep the costs down. They do their own internal QC. DD has internalized the manufacturing, so they have control over the quality in the production, but that also, as I said earlier, does elevate that price just a little bit. DD is definitely on my list of top AR-15 manufacturers. It's in the top 1 or 2. I mean, you just cannot beat these rifles. Definitely had good experiences with DD over the years. All right, let's do some shooting with this rifle. I'll quickly break it down for you guys, but I'm not going to go into any great detail on how to field strip an AR-15. I think most of you by now know how to take one of these rifles apart. The free float handguard on these rifles is really nice. So you can tight sling these things if you want to. I don't have a sling on it right now. You can really tighten the sling down on these and get a nice tight shooting position, and you're not going to affect that point of aim at all. So the free float's nice. It's also a benefit to precision shooting. So if you want to run this as a DMR, put a magnified optic on it, you're going to find this rifle is going to serve that role very well too. So right now I have a Magpul drum in here. I have 20 rounds, and the reason I have it in here is I just want to show you that this weapon with its flared magazine well and stuff like that will run with pretty much every popular AR-15 magazine that's out there. All right, real quick, I'll show you how to field strip this rifle. But before I do that, I want to thank our friends over at Federal for supplying the ammunition free of charge to the channel. I've been shooting Federal ammunition ever since I was a little kid. Not a little kid, a young man, let's say. I technically was shooting their 22 as a kid. Outstanding ammunition. I've had extremely good luck with it. And again, we want to thank them for supplying that ammunition. All right, to take it apart very quickly, just make sure the weapon is clear, no magazines in the weapon. I just check that chamber, push your rear pin out, hinge that top open, pull your charging handle to the rear, take your bolt and carrier out, pull the T-handle out. Set that aside. That's all you really need to do with the upper. To take the lower apart, grab your cotter pin here, take it out, drop your firing pin out, rotate this cam pin, pop it out, and take your bolt out of the carrier. You can go a step further, use your firing pin, knock out this pin and take your extractor out, but I don't typically do that on regular field maintenance. Now you will find that the barrel on this rifle is tested, so it's HP MPI tested. You're going to find that the bolt's going to be MPI tested as well, so there's no problems in the manufacturing, there's no weak spots in the materials, which is something that the military does. So you're going to find the components of a DD are going to be at least as good as government contract parts, but generally speaking, they're going to exceed government specifications in my own experience. So it's very, very high quality stuff. To put it back together, you simply reverse the process. When you pick up your DD4V7, I may have called it a DD5 earlier in the video, and I apologize for that, but when you pick up your DD4V7, it will come in a plastic case that's basically a range case. The case isn't airline approved or any of that, but it's good for taking the rifle to and from the range. It'll also come with a single DD magazine, which will work in other firearms, but the DD magazines are really nice polymer magazines, so they're going to be comparable to a PMag or something like that. The rifle also came with a different butt plate that can be used. That's kind of a different profile if you want to swap that out. Now the AR-15 itself, there's a reason why this rifle is so popular. There's a reason why the world's militaries are still adopting this thing for the first time 60 years after its introduction. And that's because the rifle is reliable, it's accurate, it's lightweight, and it's just proven itself to be an outstanding infantry rifle. Yes, it got off to a rocky start during the Vietnam War. There are a number of reasons for that. You'll still see people out there swapping old wives' tales about how horrible the M16 is. Obviously, it's not horrible. It's America's longest serving infantry rifle. And now, like I said, many of our allies are out there adopting some version of it, either short stroke gas piston versions like the H&K 416 or rifles like this. I'm a fan of the direct gas impingement, which is actually an internal piston. We've talked about that in previous videos. But the DI system, for me, it's softer shooting. It's extremely reliable. And this nonsense about it poops where it eats. Go watch our burn down video of the BCM where we ran 10,000 rounds to the rifle without even put a drop of oil over 5 years. And the gun had no problems of any significance during that time period. So the rifles are extremely reliable. These DDs, as I've already mentioned, are extremely well made. And you're going to find that if you buy this rifle, you're going to have this rifle for a long time. It's kind of an heirloom piece. It's something you can hand down to your relatives. Such smooth rifles. That mid-length gas system is a real plus. Mid-length means it's a little bit longer than a carbine, which you'll find on an M4. It's a little bit shorter than a rifle that you'll find on a 20-inch barreled rifle. So you can see the gas block right there. And that mid-length gas system really kind of tames the recoil. You'll find that the M4 style gas block, the carbine style, is going to be a bit punchier. This is kind of seeks to smooth that out and find a middle ground between rifle and carbine. But extremely smooth shooting rifles, and again, I truly do love them. The DD4V7 with its mid-length gas system and enhanced trigger, it's just a very smooth shooting rifle. You can shoot it very quickly and accurately. You'll notice the recoil impulse on these things are extremely manageable. Yeah, very, very smooth weapon. So Daniel Defense sent me this rifle for review. I have found them online for right around 1,800 bucks or so. So again, that price is going to be a little bit higher than what you're going to pay for competitive products out there, but not as expensive as some Gucci brands. But I think you're going to find the quality on these things is going to rival any AR-15 out there. The guns are extremely well made. The finish on them is nice and even. The furniture fits perfectly, and that's one thing I've always liked about Daniel Defense is the fitment has always been consistently good with every rifle I've had over the years. If you have any questions about the DD4V7, you can ask those questions down below. I do try to stick around for the first couple of days after a video goes live to answer any questions you guys may have. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here on YouTube, you got the subscribe button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash that button. You can support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Thank you for 17 years of support. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we'll talk to you guys soon.